CITR 101.9 FM in Vancouver. This is Synchronicity, talk radio for your mind, body, and soul. I'm your host, Marie, and we're talking with Jay Baydala from ChristmasFuture.org. And if you have a question for Jay, the number to call is 604-822-2487. That's 604-UBC-CITR, 822-2487. So, Jay, we're talking about micro-lending right now under the section of gender equality. And I'm wondering, what's different about your site as opposed to, like, Kiva?
Sure. There's a lot of similarities. It's what I'm calling the sort of nonprofit or NGO, non-governmental organization 2.0, the new generation of nonprofit model. And Kiva is one of the leading examples of this new model. Christmas Future is as well one of the sort of poster children of this new model of nonprofit. So Kiva is a microcredit lending site. You can go on. You can see a picture of Juan asking for $50 to start his fruit stand. You can give Juan $50, and then 6 months later or a year later, you get a note that says, "Thank you for helping me start my fruit stand. My life is better. My family is secure." So basically online, make it easy, give you feedback about what's going on and how you're changing the world. Christmas Future is pretty much the same thing, but our focus is integrated development as opposed to just microcredit.
There's also, I think, another difference, too. With Kiva, the money is loaned by you, and it comes back to you, like it goes back in, because I have a Kiva account, and it comes back into your account. So what happens with this money, say we donate to Core International or another program, and so they're paying that money back to the organization, so it's actually re-loaned out.
Yeah, so what the money is going towards on the site is to actually building those opportunities up as opposed to the lending out. So on the Christmas Future site, those dollars are the source dollars that are going out to those different people are actually coming from other sources. You're creating the opportunity on the Christmas Future site for that infrastructure to happen.
Okay, cool. So now I'm looking under education, and there's in Bolivia, there's the Children's Human Rights Project, Potosi Mine, Bolivia, and it's a 2-year project. So what's going on with this one?
I understand that on that project, they're actually educating, I think it should say on the site itself how many hundred children are involved in this particular program.
It says 320 lives affected.
Yeah, so, walking for 2 years, 60 children per year, through this program and actually providing education to them and resources necessary to sort of bring them up to the next level. And all international development organizations and people involved in sort of extreme poverty work know that the number one thing that changes a nation's future or changes a population's future is education. That's the single biggest thing that actually changes the world. Yes, you need to have clean water. That's huge. And you need enough food and you need enough medicine to stay healthy. But the biggest thing that changes a nation's future is education, and this is focused on that.
That's really cool. And there's also women's literacy in Guatemala, and that affects 300 lives. And it's interesting because if you're looking at the site, it's ChristmasFuture.org, and beside each project, there is a quick facts. So it tells you how many lives are affected by this project, how much funding is required, how much funding has already been raised, and what the current need is. And literacy, I mean, it's another, like having a shower. We take it for granted that we can pick up a newspaper and read it or read the road signs. I mean, there are people, a lot of people in the world who don't even know how to read.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And you're so right that we do take it so much here for granted. We can't really blame us. We can't blame North Americans because you only know what you've been exposed to, really. So, we can't blame North Americans, but the more exposure we get to these types of things, the more it makes sense that, wow, we really have it good here. I was in a village in West Africa where they were building a school, and it was almost completed, and I was able to meet with the community and ask them a few questions, and as I was there watching the community, or meeting with the community, children would come from far away, kilometers away, to see if the school is ready yet, because they so wanted to get into school. They so wanted to start learning, which is so vastly different than the story here.
Yeah, you've got to drag the kids out of bed.
We're usually complaining about having to go to class.
Yeah. Well, it is something that we take for granted, and I think it's something that everyone should be able to take for granted. Every person on this planet should be able to read. It is a human right to have education, I believe, but in so many places, it's a luxury.
Absolutely.
That they can't afford.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And when you're able, it's interesting what you said about, people needing clean water and food, and of course, I mean, that is the most important thing ultimately is having food in your belly, but that's where the money is going to, all this aid, and it's like this bottomless pit of poverty.
Exactly. There's aid, and then there's development. And aid is appropriate in times of crises, where there's big crises, whether it's a natural disaster or a financial collapse or whatever it is. Aid is appropriate when people are dying in those moments, just like Western medicine is really great for acute problems. But for more systemic problems, you need to look at it differently. You need to develop. You need to change something. So aid is appropriate, but development is what takes people to the next level. And letting them define what that development should look like in their culture, in their community, and let them own it. Help them to own it. That's where we change the world.
Exactly. Well, we're talking with Jay Baydala from ChristmasFuture.org, and I want to talk more about all these projects because there's so many. But is there anything that you want to focus on, because we are getting close to wrapping up the show?
Well, one concept that I think we sort of briefly touched on as well was this concept of gift philanthropy, that you make a donation as your gift to a loved one. And it's really catching on, and we're seeing it everywhere, and it's really popular these days. So really encouraging people to, if Christmas Future is for you, if focusing on extreme poverty is for you, that's great. Christmas Future is the right option. It's a great, innovative, thoughtful gift. It's a green gift. But if Christmas Future isn't for you, I encourage you to find some way to get involved in your world and engage in what's going on.
That's I'm just silent because it's so important for us to be able to give back, and I want to talk about the actual gifting process. So do you just get like a number that you would write in someone's card, or is it a gift card? How does it work?
Yeah. Basically, you've got a few options. There's the ability for you to go online and email, send an email card, a gift card, to the gift recipient, to your loved one. If you don't want to give an online gift card, if you don't want to send an email to them with a pretty picture and a nice saying inside, maybe you don't want to send it right away. Maybe you want to send it on the day after Christmas so you don't spoil the surprise. You can time the delivery of that electronic card. Alternatively, you can print off that card, and it has a little gift code in it as well that they can type into the website and pick up their gift card. But you can go old school and go print it and print out the card, fold it up, write your own personal message inside, and give them that under the tree. So for people that want something under the tree, they can go that way.
Great. And it's great for when, like I was talking about, people who just show up unexpectedly and they have a gift. You can always have a few of these handy at the last minute if someone shows up with a gift, and you can give it to them. And
absolutely. And it's so thoughtful, and it's so time efficient. I know that in these times we're all stressed out about finding the right gift, spending the right amount, getting to the mall, wrapping it up, getting it to the right person. Well, here's a really simple way that you can do a lot of your holiday shopping, change the world at the same time, and spend very little time doing it.